My name is Sadie, and my husband Blake told me I wasn't invited to the biggest night of his career. You're not coming to the gala, he said one morning over coffee. I looked up from my phone. What do you mean I'm not coming? It's a professional event, executive level only. Blake, I'm your wife. I've been to every company event for 8 years. He didn't meet my eyes. This one's different. Besides, you'd be bored. Bored at a black tie fundraiser with an open bar? I laughed. Try again. The decision's final, Sadie. Something in his tone made my stomach drop. Blake was hiding something. That afternoon, my sister Rachel came over for lunch. He actually banned you? She asked, pouring wine. Use the word professional, like I'm some embarrassment. You have an MBA, Sadie. You helped him prepare for half his presentations. I know. Rachel leaned forward. What if he's having an affair? I thought about that, but why ban me from a work event? If he wanted to cheat, there are easier ways. So what are you thinking? I think he's doing something at work he doesn't want me to know about. Rachel's eyes lit up. Are you going to investigate? I'm going to that gala, I said. Just not as a guest. I called the catering company the next day. Hi, I saw you're hiring servers for the Apex Pharmaceuticals Gala, I said. Yes, we need 2 more people. Have you worked events before? Plenty, I lied. I'm available Saturday. Great, wear all black and arrive at 5 for setup. Blake left early Saturday afternoon for the gala prep. I'll be home late, he said, kissing my cheek. Don't wait up. Good luck with your big night. The moment his car left, I started getting ready. Black pants, black button-up shirt, sensible shoes. Rachel arrived at 4. You look like a cat burglar. I look like catering staff. Same energy. Here, take this. She handed me a small recording device. Put it in your pocket. Records everything. Where did you get this? Amazon. Now go catch whatever that jerk is hiding. I arrived at the hotel ballroom at 5 sharp. The catering manager barely looked at me. You're new? Yes, ma'am. Stick with the drink trays. Stay invisible. Don't talk to guests unless they ask you something directly. Got it. Perfect. Invisible was exactly what I needed to be. The ballroom filled quickly with executives in designer suits and evening gowns. I recognized Blake's boss, David Sterling, and several board members. Then I saw Blake. He looked confident, working the room. I stayed near the bar, circulating with champagne trays, listening. That's when I saw him. Kyle Morrison, one of Blake's colleagues. He looked nervous, sweating despite the air conditioning. Blake approached him. We need to talk. Now. They moved to a quiet corner. I drifted closer, refilling nearby glasses. You need to keep your mouth shut tonight, Blake hissed. Kyle's voice shook. Blake, the FDA investigation is expanding. They're looking at the trial data. There is no investigation, just rumors. I falsified results because you told me it was standard practice. Now people are getting sick. My hands went numb. Keep your mouth shut, Blake repeated. You're in this as deep as I am. I nearly dropped my tray. I left the gala early, my mind racing. By the time I got home, I had a plan. Sunday morning, I called Rachel. He's falsifying pharmaceutical trial data, I said. People are getting sick. Holy hell! What are you going to do? I need help, real help. Rachel knew someone. My friend Jake is a detective. He owes me a favor. Let me call him. Detective Hayes met us at a coffee shop Monday morning. Tell me everything, he said. I explained the gala conversation. Blake said FDA investigation. His colleague Kyle mentioned falsified trial data. Hayes took notes. Apex Pharmaceuticals just released a new cardiac medication. If the trials were fraudulent, this is federal. Can you investigate? I can make some calls. But we need more than overheard conversation. We need proof. What kind of proof? Documents, emails. The actual falsified data. I thought about Blake's home office. He keeps files on his laptop. Can you access it? He uses the same password for everything. Our wedding anniversary. Hayes looked at me seriously. If you do this, you need to be smart. Copy everything to a secure drive. Don't delete anything or change anything. When? Soon, before he knows anyone's watching. That night, Blake worked late. I went into his home office. My hands shook as I opened his laptop. The password worked. I found a folder labeled Trial Data, Confidential. Inside were hundreds of documents, spreadsheets with numbers highlighted in red, emails discussing adjustments to patient outcomes, communications with Kyle about managing the data. I copied everything to a USB drive. One email made me sick. Kyle, the stroke incidents need to be reclassified as unrelated to medication. Fix the paperwork before Friday's board presentation. We're too close to approval to let 3 incidents derail a $1 billion launch. B. 3 people had strokes. Blake covered it up. I called Hayes immediately. I have everything, I said. Emails, falsified spreadsheets, all of it. Bring it to my office tomorrow morning. Don't tell anyone. What happens next? I have contacts at the FDA. This goes federal. The next morning I met Hayes at his office. He reviewed the files with an FBI agent who specialized in pharmaceutical fraud. This is extensive, the agent said. Mr. Fisher didn't just falsify data. He instructed others to do it and covered up adverse events. How long until you can arrest him? I asked. We need to build a case, interview witnesses, get Kyle Morrison to flip. How long? 2 weeks, maybe 3. The company's having a board meeting next Friday. Blake is presenting the trial results. Hayes and the agent exchanged looks. What if we let him present? The agent said slowly. Let him commit to the fraud publicly, with the board as witnesses. You want him to hang himself, Hayes said. Exactly. Then we move in. I felt a cold satisfaction. I can make sure the right people know to pay attention. The agent nodded. Do it. I spent the next week playing the perfect wife, making dinners, asking about his day, acting like nothing had changed. Blake had no idea the FBI was watching him. Friday came. The board meeting was at 2. I called Blake at noon. Honey, I'm so proud of you. Today's your big presentation, right? Yeah, the trial results. Should be good. I know you'll be amazing. I hung up and called Kyle Morrison's personal number. I'd found it in Blake's contacts. Hello? Kyle, this is Sadie Fisher, Blake's wife. We need to talk. Silence. I know about the falsified trial data, I continued. I know Blake made you do it. And I know you're scared. I can't talk about this. The FBI is building a case. They're going to arrest Blake today after the board meeting. You can either go down with him, or you can tell the truth. He'll destroy me. He's already destroyed. Save yourself. The board meeting was in Apex Pharmaceuticals' main conference room. I wasn't invited, obviously, but Rachel worked in the building next door. She got me in as her guest. We waited in the lobby cafe with Detective Hayes. The FBI is in position, Hayes said quietly. They're waiting for the presentation to finish. What if he doesn't present the fraudulent data? Rachel asked. He will, I said. He's too arrogant to back down now. At 3:30 my phone buzzed. Unknown number. Hello? Mrs. Fisher? This is Kyle Morrison. I'm in the conference room. Blake just presented completely falsified trial results to the board. He claimed 0 adverse events. I have the real data showing 3 strokes and 7 cardiac incidents. Are you ready to tell the truth? Yes. I'm done protecting him. The FBI is in the building. Go to them. Thank you. 20 minutes later, chaos erupted on the executive floor. We watched from the lobby as FBI agents entered the building. They headed straight for the conference room. Hayes got a call. They're arresting him now. I want to see, I said. We took the elevator to the executive floor. Security was everywhere, but Hayes badged us through. The conference room doors were open. Board members stood around looking stunned. Blake was in handcuffs. He saw me. Sadie, what are you doing here? I walked closer. Watching your career end. What did you do? I went to your gala, remember? The one I wasn't invited to? His face went white. You were there? I heard your conversation with Kyle about the FDA investigation, about the falsified data, about people getting sick. You couldn't have. I copied every file from your laptop, every email, every spreadsheet. The FBI has everything. David Sterling, his boss, stepped forward. Is this true, Blake? Did you falsify clinical trial data? David, I can explain. Did you or didn't you? Blake looked at me with pure hatred. This is my wife. She's trying to sabotage me. I'm trying to stop you from killing people, I said calmly. The medication you're pushing causes strokes. You knew it. You covered it up. Kyle Morrison stepped forward. She's right. Blake ordered me to reclassify adverse events. I have documentation. You backstabbing. Blake lunged, but the FBI agents held him. Blake Fisher, you're under arrest for fraud, falsification of federal documents, and conspiracy, the agent said. Sadie, please, don't do this. I already did it. David turned to the board members. Meeting adjourned. Legal will be in touch. He looked at Blake with disgust. You're fired, effective immediately. Security will pack your office. Blake was led away in handcuffs, still protesting. I stood there, watching him disappear. Rachel hugged me. You did it! Yeah, I did. 3 days later, I met Detective Hayes at a coffee shop. The charges are sticking, he said. Federal fraud, falsification of documents, conspiracy. He's looking at 10 to 15 years. And the company? Apex is facing massive fines. The medication's been pulled from the market. Kyle Morrison got immunity for cooperating. Good. There's more. The media got wind of it. He showed me his phone. News headlines everywhere. Pharmaceutical executive arrested for trial fraud. Apex scandal. Falsified data endangered lives. Wife exposes husband's deadly corporate conspiracy. My phone rang. Unknown number. Hello? Mrs. Fisher? This is Jennifer Part from Channel 7 News. We'd like to interview you about exposing your husband's fraud. Let me think about it. I hung up. Hayes raised an eyebrow. Media attention? Apparently I'm news. Rachel arrived carrying coffee. Have you seen the coverage? You're everywhere. I noticed. Blake's lawyer called me, she said. He wants to talk to you. About what? Blake is asking if you'll write a character statement, help with sentencing. I laughed. Is he serious? My phone rang again. Blake's mother. Sadie, dear, we need to talk, Barbara said. This has all been a terrible misunderstanding. Mrs. Fisher, your son falsified medical data and covered up strokes. He made mistakes, yes, but he's still your husband. Family forgives. He endangered people's lives for profit. Everyone deserves a second chance. No, not for this. You're throwing away your marriage over his career? I'm protecting people he was willing to kill for a promotion. We're done. I hung up. Hayes looked impressed. That was direct. I'm tired of people asking me to protect him. David Sterling called the next day. Sadie, this is David. I wanted to thank you personally. For destroying your company's reputation? For stopping us from killing patients. The board voted to offer you a settlement, $2 million, and we'd like to hire you as a compliance consultant. I'm not sure I want to work in pharmaceuticals. Think about it. We need people with integrity. You proved you have it. I'll consider it. The FBI scheduled Blake's sentencing hearing for 6 weeks later. I attended. The courtroom was packed with reporters. Blake was let in, wearing an orange jumpsuit. He looked defeated. The judge reviewed the case file. Mr. Fisher, you've pleaded guilty to federal fraud charges. Yes, Your Honor. Your actions endangered dozens of patients. 3 suffered strokes. You prioritized profit over human lives. I made terrible mistakes. I take full responsibility. The judge looked skeptical. You take responsibility now that you're caught. I'm sorry. To the patients, to my colleagues, to my wife. I felt nothing. Mrs. Fisher, would you like to address the court? The judge asked. I stood. Yes, Your Honor. Proceed. Blake banned me from a company gala because he didn't want me to discover his fraud, but I went anyway. I heard him threaten a colleague into staying quiet. I found evidence of systematic data falsification, and I made sure the right authorities knew about it. Why didn't you protect your husband? Because protecting him would have meant letting people die. That's not who I am. The judge nodded. Thank you, Mrs. Fisher. She turned to Blake. Mr. Fisher, you're sentenced to 12 years in federal prison, followed by 5 years supervised release. You're permanently banned from working in pharmaceuticals. Blake's shoulders slumped. Additionally, you'll pay restitution to affected patients and fines totaling $5 million. The bailiff led him away. He looked back at me once. I didn't look away. Outside the courthouse, reporters swarmed me. Mrs. Fisher, how does it feel to see your husband sentenced? It feels like justice. Will you divorce him? Already filed. What's next for you? I'm going to make sure this never happens again in the industry. Rachel drove me home. You okay? She asked. Yeah, I really am. What are you going to do with the settlement money? Start a nonprofit. Help whistleblowers and pharmaceutical companies come forward safely. That's perfect. My phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. Thank you for having the courage I didn't, Kyle. I smiled. Justice isn't about revenge. It's about making sure the right thing happens, even when it's hard. Blake chose his career over people's lives. I chose people's lives over my marriage. I don't regret it for a second. Have you ever had to choose between protecting someone you love and doing what's right? What would you have done in my situation? Like and subscribe for more stories about people who refused to be victims and fought back the right way.